Welcome back, folks. So we were looking at this verse 47, and I mentioned that this is um, the most popular verse. There's a reason for that. That this the major chunk of the Bhagwad Gita, it actually dwells a lot on this aspect of karma yoga, and this kind of forms the definition of this path towards moksha. Um, so we spent some time on this verse last time, and we'll spend a little bit more time also uh, this time as well. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Let me just use my mouse here. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturphu ma te sankostvakarmani. So we went over this, that karmanyev adhikaraste. So you have adhikara. If we were to split this word up, it is saying that you can own the action, but you do not own the results of the actions. And we went over this, but I'm going to try. I've never done this before, which is sharing the whiteboard. Let me just try if I can do that. Let me stop this share and try and share this whiteboard. So what I had alluded to last time, if I'm going to try and do this. So we are at some point here, and then this is our destination. So we need to go to this destination. So if you are using your Google or something, when we input this data, it asks you, do you want the fast route? Do you want the fast route, or do you want the quick route, or you want alternate route? Some other routes it will ask you. Some other alternate route. So then one of the routes that is there is you could if I can draw some kind of a you could take a flight, and you could go from your origin, wherever you are now, from your origin to your destination. So you can take you can fly. So this is one way to do it. What are some of the other ways? You can take maybe a public transport. So you go from here to a local bus stop here, and then from there you catch a bus that will take you to some point, and then it's like public transport. Maybe you take a train to some point, and then you take a ferry. In some places you have that. You can you take a boat and you cross you take the boat and you get to some point, and then from there you take the one more and then you reach the destination. Destination is same. Or you could use your you could drive in your own car. So you can drive in your own car, and then you don't have any restrictions. So you can take the freeway. Even here you have got a couple of alternatives. You can take the fast route and go, or you can take inside roads and go slow, and you can then that way you can reach the destination. So For each of these, so if you want to take this route, are you flying the plane or is somebody else flying to can you fly a plane? Maybe, maybe not. If you cannot, then you basically need to have the resources to be able to buy a seat on this plane so that you can take this travel up. Otherwise, if you are taking this route, then the public transport route, if you're going to take the public transport route, then you need to know where the bus stop is, and you need to uh, mm, you need to be aware which bus you are taking. Whatever details about uh, the number or the bus number, whatever, and then you take your route, and then you come here. And if you are going to take this route, then obviously you need to um, have a car, you need to have a license, and all the things. You should have some experience driving, and then you can take this. And so for each of these routes that you are seeing that take you from point A to point B, which is your destination, the prerequisites, the requirements, the requirements are there. They're different. So in case of this route, you have to have a lot of I'm just taking an example. You need to be able to shell out a lot of money to be able to get a seat in this plane. It is a very expensive thing, and you should be able to afford it. So you need to have those resources to be able to do this. If you are flying, obviously you need to know how to fly the plane and all that. On the other hand, if you're going to take this public transport route, then what kind of information you need? You should be aware of the bus timetables, so on and so forth. So this part, this is that there isn't any rationale behind why we are picking something, why we are mapping some route to something. Maybe we can justify some of the things, but not that was not the intention. But let's say just to quickly wrap this up so we can get back to this words that we are talking about. The path, the flight that you're taking, this is the fastest route that is there, the route of the flight. So this is just for analogy, like I'm saying, this is the part of Jnana Yoga. Okay, this is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga. Yoga is a methodology, a means that you can use to go from this point A to point B. These different methodologies are there, which is this different yoga. So this is Jnana Yoga. So for Jnana Yoga, what is the requirement? So we went over that in the second chapter. A lot of Sankhya Yoga is mentioned, and it takes a lot of effort, a lot of preparation to be able to walk that path. Maybe we can touch upon this sometime again later a little bit. So that was the path. And then there are several ways, as just like there can be so many ways to go from A to B that we are showing here. There are we have just shown 3 waves here. Similarly, there are several ways to go from whatever your mental state is now to moksha. So this is our target is moksha, or at least Vedanta is expecting that your target be this. Now this is Jnana Yoga, and now we are talking about Karma Yoga. So what are we saying here? See, if you are if there is the distance you're traveling, I mean, this is not a good analogy here, but just to explain the justification of some of the things. If you are traveling a short distance, then you might say, it makes sense to take public transport or other than take a flight, because it doesn't make sense to take a flight to go to some near place, as opposed to if you're going some far place, then it makes sense. So yeah, there are different reasons why you can justify why this mode of transport or this method has that one can use. So what we are seeing is people have, before the Bhagwad Gita, people have studied all these paths. They have spent enormous amount of time and they have documented this, they have documented the difficulties, and they have also experienced it. It's not just theory. And so they all has been analyzed and studied and then surfaced in the Bhagwad Gita. So Bhagwad Gita is telling us that this path is pretty tough. This path is pretty tough. Let me see if I can change the color here. I have not used this before, so maybe it's the format. Okay. So this path is difficult, is what, and we'll see several places later on where this question is considered and different ways in which this answer is given. So karma, and so Bhagavad Gita is saying that karma yoga is something that Krishna is telling Arjuna, for your kind of person, I would recommend that you use karma yoga, and then you say, okay, if I want to use this one, then I need to understand where this stop is. How do I get here? How do I look at the timetable of the bus? How do I know when this? So you need to know you need to have the prerequisite knowledge in order to take up this journey with the public transport. You need to know where the bus is going to come and what the fare is and so on and so. Basically, if you want to study karma yoga, then whatever is involved in karma yoga, we have to understand it and then we can follow it. And then the other thing that is there, the last part, well, there are so many, like I said, but in the Bhagavad Gita, these have been considered, and this is Bhakti Yoga. So this is Bhakti Yoga. So just to complete our talk here. So these are the three parts, and this is chapter 12. We'll talk about this. So chapter 2, 3, 4, and 18 talk about this one. Not the whole of 18, part of 18. We probably are not going to go into that, but 2, 3, 4 will go. And this is obviously, this is chapter 2, which we saw a lot of this. So because we are looking at this part, then we are understanding the nuances, because we are interested in taking up this path. We are looking at the nuances of this. So what is karma? So what is karma? This karma is some effort that you take, and then there is the result of karma, there is karma phala, and so on. So this is what we are looking at. Okay. So I will stop this share and I will go back to our slide. I hope this will give some context to why we are talking about karma yoga here. And I will I'll talk about this, but Bhagavad Gita, the thing is that the path towards moksha is this goal of moksha is a very, very lofty goal, off the charts goal. You might set the goal of becoming a astrophysicist or a neurologist or neurosurgeon, something like that. That goal is, it won't come even close, nowhere close to the goal of moksha. That it's so lofty. So this the techniques you will use in order to be able to reach that goal, those techniques is what we saw just now. And while we look at the different methodologies that are there, the whole Patanjali Yoga Sutra is a formula. So basically, it means that if there might be books written on Newton's laws of physics, but in terms of if you want to understand the whole thing in a very concise manner, then you put F is equal to ma, force is equal to mass into acceleration, or Einstein's theory of relativity, or you if you get into the theoretical details, it will be very complicated. But if we reduce all that complications into one equation, then that E is equal to mc square equation is there. So same thing with the sutras that are there. There is the Patanjali Yoga Sutra is there. There is Brahma Sutra is there. So they are like concise expressions of some complicated, complex thing. So this journey, this destination, this goal that we have to, everybody has to undertake. It's not a prerogative of just a few. Anybody and everybody can aspire for this, and they can make efforts to reach this goal. Of all the things that have been explained, one of the things that is said is that you need to, whatever path you choose, you need to practice that all the time. So if you consider Jnana Yoga, then or you take Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, where he explains how the mind works, what are the vrittis, how you should focus on the vrittis, how you should still the mind, what are the things you should watch for, and in great detail he has told. And then he says that you need to keep practicing this all the time, and then you will see results. So this, what Sri Krishna is saying, it's basically Sri Krishna is just the mouthpiece of the collective experience of hundreds and thousands of seekers of truth. They have gone through all this, and then they are saying, that your friend, he has, you need to go hiking to a point, or just you're traveling from point A to point B, and you have never been there, but then you've got a friend who goes there every day or has been there several times, and you consult with him, or he tells you of his own that, go like this, like this, like this, like this. That will be easier for you. Similarly, this the technique for Jnana Yoga, where you need to be immersed as far as possible all the time in this uh, zeal, in this effort of yours to get moksha, the steps that have been mentioned there. You keep doing that, you are all the time, you are just doing that, then you have a chance. With all that, there's no guarantee. You have a chance that you might be able to get to this goal of moksha, which is self-realization. And when we see the theory, it is not something very fantastic. It's not like, the sky will part and some divine thing will come down. Nothing like Vedanta doesn't get into all those things. Very, very scientific, practical, rational. It will tell you these are the things, and this is how you should be basically established in this discovery of the self. So the practical difficulty that is there to stay immersed all the time in this is virtually prohibitive for a layman, for a person who everybody needs to earn their livelihood, so they need to study for that, work for that, and then they have to get a job, and the job they have to perform their job, and they have to do reasonably well there, otherwise they'll lose their job, and so they have to earn money to sustain. So it's for common man, if he reads this expectation of the Yoga Sutra or of the Jnana Yoga to stay all the time immersed in this, it is if he takes up seriously, he will very soon realize that it's virtually next to impossible for him to be able to do these things. And this is where Karma Yoga shines. So Sri Krishna says that you need not do all that. But with this technique of Karma Yoga, every action that you do, you surrender that the fruits of that action unto Satchidananda or whatever deity you have in mind. And your goal is this. I'm not going to go back to that diagram that I was showing. Your destination, or should I? Let me see it. It might still be there. Let me just whiteboard. Okay, it is still here. So our goal is we want to go from this point to this point. This is our goal. So while we are going, we come to this point over here. We come to this point. We need to be aware that that is just a means to an end. Our job is to get to this point. So we have got here. Okay, that is good, but that's not our goal. We could find something alternative. If it turns out that getting to this point is difficult, we'll find another route. We'll bypass this and we'll go like this. Whatever, we'll find another route there. Okay, let me just go back to sharing this. So so in Karma Yoga, this path of that Sri Krishna is explaining, he is getting into the details of what you need to be aware of, so you can practice this Karma Yoga. And he is fully aware that if the theory, the science behind Karma Yoga, if it turns out to be as complicated or as difficult as that of Jnana Yoga, then there is no point. The purpose is defeated. So he's aware of that. So he is actually simplifying that whole process. And he says that this one of the requirements that is there in order to be able to achieve moksha is this virtually a constant thinking, contemplation of this self-realization that is difficult for a layman. Now that is why Arjuna, and we have seen this at the beginning of this Bhagwad Gita sessions that we started, that Arjuna and the battle he is in. So you can imagine this Arjuna, he is a warrior. He is standing in the battlefield with bow and arrow ready to fight. And are you expecting him to do all these meditations and austerities that rishis did in order to it's an impossible ask for him. And so Krishna, so that Arjuna's description of his state, we have gone through this before, is the state of our mind. This is how we are, each one of us who lives a ordinary life, goes studied something, goes to work, The one of the other things is contentment, satisfaction. You There is something that you desire and you get that, and having gotten that, then you no longer have any desires. Which is what really another way to look at moksha is that having obtained that status or that thing, you no longer aspire for anything else. So from if we compare that, in the whatever highest goal that you can think of, you want to become an astrophysicist, you want to become the head of NASA, or you want to become the president of United States, or the prime minister of India, whatever that you can consider is the most difficult thing that you cannot achieve, or whatever the thing that you find you you put at the highest goal of your life, you may or may not be able to achieve it. And then let's say hypothetically, you want to become an astrophysicist and or astronaut, and you want to go to the moon. How is that for a fantastic goal? Let's say that is your goal, to be an astronaut and go to the moon. And you, let's say, are able to do that. Some things click, things happen, and one after another. Actually, I've seen a couple of cases, of course not as fantastic of this, but I've seen a couple of cases, and many of us have seen, going from rags to riches. The thing is that if he ends up being an astronaut, going to the moon and coming back, would you think he would have no desires left, and he is completely satisfied in life, and there's nothing else that is there? No, we know that it's an endless thing. There'll be something else that he would want. He might want to go again, or you can think of things that he might be able to, a person, a man would like to go through. So the the stops that are in the middle, they are means to an end, which means that we obtain a certain goal, a certain desire. We want that because it is a stepping stone for us to go to some other place. So once the karma yoga is nothing but a change in the attitude of the day-to-day work that we do, right? That's what it is. It is the things that you do day to day in your day-to-day life. So the aim that you had, the goal that you had of becoming an astronaut and going to moon, if you get that done, that is also a means to an end, and our end is moksha. That is our end. Okay, so when Sri Krishna explains karma yoga to us, the apart apart from, if you look at Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, or all these meditation techniques that are there, you take that up, and then you keep working on them. So that part of it, where you need to be constantly involved in that, Sri Krishna does a magnificent job in Karma Yoga, where he says that same effect, the same result of austerity, that if you consider that as austerity, where you're meditating, you're contemplating all the time, the same kind of result you get, just like we are saying, in different ways to get from A to B, by looking at each karma that you do, and then surrendering that to fruits of the action, to some Ishvara. Well, I guess somebody could say it as destiny as well. And that's a whole different discussion. The thing is that what Krishna is trying to do here is, if we to go back to some slides that we were looking at before. So this is what we want. This is where we want to be. And this is the Jnana Yoga thing that we talked about. Now, however you get to this point, it doesn't matter. The different alternate routes that are there, for you to get to this point is what the goal is. And so here in Karma Yoga, the actions which are nothing but the vrittis that are there, the end result of a cascade of vrittis is going to end up into some action. So the origin is here only in Karma Yoga, and then the result of that is going to again cause some vrittis here as well. So by following this path of Karma Yoga, where you distance yourself from the fruits of the actions, this turbulence that is there here in the mind is what is being addressed. At the end of the day, that is the bottom line. This turbulence is being addressed. If we are able to get to this state of self-realization, this is moksha, where the ignorance that is there, that we are different from the consciousness, is removed. That is the state of moksha. There is a very good word for that, and we are going to see that because Arjuna is going to ask that question a little while later. There's one thing that I wanted to mention about this, that I went into details about. I don't want to digress too much. That in this verse, Yava anartha udapane sarvatas samplutodake, it is like the small streams emptying into a bigger reservoir. The word-to-word meaning actually of this is, there is a well that is dug in a river. And so the comparison of this is the water in the well compared to the water of the river in spate, in a flooded river. It's just to clarify the word-to-word meaning, which I did not explain last time. That doesn't matter, just in case somebody is interested. So this is our magic formula. And so that is why this verse is so famous and popular and gets quoted again and again and again, because this is the theory behind how one should perform Karma Yoga. What is the kind of attitude, what is the kind of thinking you should have so that you are able to perform Karma Yoga. And by following that, if you are to be asked that you need to meditate 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening, forget 8 hours every day, just one hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. Just 10 minutes is going to be a huge task. 1 hour is a long cry here. Yeah, there'll be so many excuses that one will come up with. So it's very difficult. So this, the theory that is there, this will allow you to take your day-to-day task. You are writing an email, you are doing some chore, even those tasks, you will be able to take that and applying the techniques of Karma Yoga, be able to get your mind to a similar kind of state as if you were doing the meditation in the path of Jnana Yoga. So you you will be addressing the vrittis that are taking place in your mind, and you will, by following this technique, you will be able to get to that same state where you will be able to reduce the turbulence in your mind and get glimpses of the real nature of consciousness, which fills each and every one of us. Actually, it goes even beyond that. Even animate and inanimate, it fills up everything. That's a discussion for another day. So I know that just on this one verse, we spent some time last time, and then today also. This was deliberate, that I thought that we need to spend more time, because this is the gist of the entire Bhagwad Gita. Bhagwad Gita is a explanation of the path of Karma Yoga that allows a layman, simple people who have day-to-day 9 to 5 jobs, for them to be able to pursue the practice of meditation as explained or as desired by Vedanta. This There are about 5 or 7 verses after this that go into more details of Karma Yoga, but it's kind of the same topic, just different ways of looking at the same thing. And then it actually goes on into chapter 2 and chapter 3 and chapter 4. What we are studying is chapter 2. Now, the thing is, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, the chapter, the name of the chapter, chapter 3, is called Karma Yoga, but it starts here. This is where it starts. And one other thing that we are going to see in the verses that follow, that at the time that this the Bhagavad Gita, in fact Vedanta, and because Bhagavad Gita is based on Vedanta, you will see a lot of ideas from the Vedanta surfacing into the Bhagavad Gita. That at that time, there were a lot of we know that Vedas, and we have gone over this last in some of the earlier sessions. The Vedas are made up of 4 parts actually, but roughly there's Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. And in the Karma Kanda, there are rituals and practices about how you perform Homa, how you perform Yajna, and then sacrifices you do for different kind of desires you might have. There's Putra Kamishti Yajna, where you desire a son, and so on and so forth. There are many yajnas. So one of the things, and this is where Vedanta really shines compared to any other religious text that is there, is especially if you consider this doctrine of karma. In the doctrine of karma, there are some basic fundamentals that the karma, you do a karma, then there is a result, and the result is papa or punya, right? And then these add up, they accumulate, and then they actually drive the rest of your life. And then there is a notion of reincarnation. You may or may not believe in it, but as you take the results of the karmas that you have performed, and then it actually propels your jiva into the next life, and your karmas decide what happens to you. So the karmas that you have performed, you might do a karma, which is a ritual, right? So the Shruti, Smriti. So there are rituals. You might have a ritual for if there's drought, then there might be a ritual so that it might rain, which is kind of okay. Whether it works or not and how much it works is a topic for another day and for different kind of people. But the after death, you you will go to heaven. For that, you do these yajnas. After uh, the for the prosperity of your family, your clan, you do this yajna, and then everything will work out good for you. For the welfare of your son and his wife, you do this yajna. And so this it dominated. If you consider 3,500 years ago, or what, when however many thousand years ago this was written, it dominated this thought of performing rituals. Even now it is there. You do certain pujas, certain rituals, so that you will have prosperity, or prosperity will come to your family. There are rituals that we do, and this at that time this thing just dominated. And then Vedanta, it comes like this, Aditya, like sun through the dark clouds. It comes shining, and it says, and it criticizes all these things. Yeah, this is okay what you are doing, but it is not exactly right. And then you will see this the the echo of this sentiment in several places. If you look at Kenopanishad, yeah, what some of these Upanishads, the way it works is this pupil, he goes to the master, the guru, and for 12 years he studies all this Vedanta, or not Vedanta, Vedas, the Karma Kanda. So he studies different rituals, homa, all those things he studies, and he becomes good at that. So several things he has by heart. So at the end of this 12 years of study, however old this child is at the time when he leaves this ashram, he is then able to, people invite him, call him, we want to do this yatna, we want to do that yatna, and he will come and perform all that for you. So this kid who at the end of 12 years, so there are certain Upanishads that specifically capture this event, and then they will say all this that you have studied, that's not what the truth is. So that's why in the Kenopanishad, although in Kenopanishad doesn't say about the 12 years, but in Chandogya Upanishad it is there. The Shvetaketu, he finishes his 12 years and then he comes to his father, and his father asks him some questions. It's a very big Upanishad, very important one. But like as I was mentioning in the Kenopanishad, that the guru, he's telling his disciple that the the nedam yadidam upasate, which is that he will the things that he has studied, he tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. So several places he will say this verse, tadeva brahma. This there is some explanation that he has given before, but the point is that they have attacked the shrutis. It's not that you don't do it, but you need to understand why you are doing it. And then this karma yoga, especially from that perspective, is very important, that when you perform this elaborate yajna, which will bring prosperity to your entire village or your entire country, I don't know, you are sacrificing as in you don't have to kill, but giving away 1,000 cows and so much of gold and so on and so forth. So give all that out, and that makes you earn a lot of punya, and because of that now you can go to heaven. So this thought process that is there, that Vedantists have attacked. They have said that right. And the reason I am spending time on this is because it's going to be shown in Bhagwad Gita also. Sri Krishna brings up this point several times again and again. That Shruti might say this, but don't do it. This is not what the right thing is, or do it in the right way. That is why those are also karmas. These rituals are karmas. So this is applicable to that aspect as well. It is very important there. So he's clearing the air out. Krishna, by doing this, he's setting things straight. Don't get fooled. We are way over time, but don't get fooled that by doing these scriptures rigorously and for a long time, it will help you. It's not going to help you. You need to know what you are doing. Otherwise, you are wasting your time. So Krishna says that. So we are going to see that come up in several other verses later on. Okay. So we are over time, and I'm going to conclude the session for today, and then we will meet next time.